So if you know anything about us, my family, Carla and I especially, we love the game of Scythe. Now it's Carla's favorite game, period. Scythe is an amazing game. Now let's just talk about it for a second. The art grips you immediately. You look at it, you go, I want to play that game based on the art. Now you know, we've all seen games that fail miserably mechanics-wise, even with great art. Looking at you, Mega Man, the board game. Sadly, I wanted to love you so much. But, question of the day, before we get into it, and I want you to let me know in the comments what you think. Do you prefer what I've called the Walking Dead model or the Breaking Bad model? You said, Bryan, I've never seen either of those shows. I'm going to explain what that means when it comes to games and expansions. The Walking Dead model is kind of what a lot of games do. They just, take Eldritch Horror, for example. You start with the base set, and then you get an expansion, and it just kind of goes on and on and on and on until they finally say, hey, okay, I think we're done. Or do you like the Breaking Bad model, where going in, Vince Gilligan knew that he wanted to start the story and end the story with a very definite way. Now the middle stuff gets a little hazy because you don't know exactly where you're going to go every single step, but he knew, start the story, here's how it's going to end, that's what we're going to do. Which is kind of the Scythe model here. Jamie picked 3 expansions and said, hey, we're done. We're doing 3 expansions, that's it. We're not doing any more. We're not going to come back and go, well, let's add this and this and this. It was a well thought out 3-phase plan of attack, which ends and culminates in what we're talking about today, Scythe, the Rise of Fenris. Let's take a look at this game today, but just so you know, we're doing a spoiler and non-spoiler. Obviously non-spoiler first, because that would be silly to do spoiler first. Spoiler, non-spoiler in this review right now. I'm Bryan Drake, here on the latest retro with the Dice Tower. You see, Bryan, you didn't even bother changing the camera angle when we came out of the intro. No, you're right, because the non-spoiler, I can't do anything. I can't tell you anything about what's in here. Now, here's the thing. Let's talk for a minute about the difference in campaign and legacy. Now, this is not a legacy game, it's a campaign game. So the difference in a campaign and a legacy is obvious to some who kind of know this, but some who are new players, and I didn't know exactly. Campaign can be redone over and over and over and over again. The only difference about you playing back through is that you know what's going to happen. You know what's inside of those boxes. Now I will show you the let's see if I can open my box up first to show you without looking in here to make sure I don't have any spoilers sitting on top. I will show you, because this is not a spoiler. You look inside and see this. This is exactly what you see when you get in here. So this, well, I won't show you unless you want to see. Just so you know, I'm going to show you what's in here. It's the boxes that you see the top of when you open the game. Just so you know, if some of you are like, I don't even want to see that, it's fine. But I'm going to show you what's in here. So you have box A, B, C, D, and E. All in here, all really cool looking, but that's it. You don't know what they do. There's also some punch boards that tell you don't punch these until instructed to, because there are spoilers on the punch boards. Good to note that, by the way. So you get all of this content inside of the game. You see stuff right on top right away. You go, ooh, I wonder what that's going to do. I wonder what that's going to be for. But you don't know. And then you play these 8 games of Scythe. You get the modules. And here's what's beautiful. The difference between a campaign and a legacy is now, after you finish the campaign, you could box it up, let your friends play it, or you could go through and play it again yourself. You could just say, all right, let's play back through the campaign. Try it a couple different ways. You could then also, if you say, well, I don't really want to do the campaign, but I really like that thing that happened in mission 4 or mission 2 or mission 7, what you can do then is you can just throw in the modules. And then once you finish the game, the campaign, and you don't care about any kind of spoilers that are left, you get a sheet that tells you all the different modules that you can add. And there's like 12 of them. Some of them are small tweaks. Some of them are massive tweaks and really, 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 really cool stuff. So if you're going to play Scythe, I've always said Scythe because Scythe sounds weird, and Scythe with a soft T is hard for me to say with a soft TH. Anyway, if you're going to play this game, this is the definitive way to play. Even if you wanted to skip the Wind Gambit and Invaders from Afar even. I mean, just so you know, this is the one you have to get because it is so perfect what it adds to the game. I cannot express to you that you will use these modules, at least 1 or 2 of them guaranteed, every time you play this game. It's that good. It's that perfect. It's so amazing. And the things that happen in the campaign, the surprises, the excitement is really, really stinking cool. So, Just wanted to point that out. That's really all I can say is if you're still watching the non-spoiler part right now, go get this expansion. I mean, I'm 100% recommendation. I mean, it's a 9, it's a 10. A 10 is a really weird thing for me to say because it means perfect. It's a 9.5 at least, if not a 10. I just feel weird giving something a 10, but it's a 9.5 or 10. You have to get this. It is so perfect for Scythe. It finishes the game and makes it the game you want it to be. It adds so many good tweaks that you said in the original when you said, oh, I wish you could do this. It's almost as if there was a bird that said, oh, let's go tell Jamie about that. Or Jamie probably knew that ahead of time. So you have to go get Scythe, The Rise of Fenris. I know the cost is, you think, wow, that's kind of expensive for just eight different game modes in a module. It's endless. It's endless and it finishes Scythe. It is the way to play Scythe. Hands down, perfection. You know what I mean? So that's it for the non-spoilers. I just want to give you that break right here. I'm going to give you about 10 seconds here just to get out of the non-spoiler part of the review. Just so you know, 10 seconds, once 10 seconds is done, we're going into the spoiler review. So I just want you to know, spoilers, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, spoilers, 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 spoilers. Perfect. Whoa. How about that regulator, or what was it called? The decimator? Whatever, the big giant robot that shows up on the board, middle of that mission. And you put it in the box. You don't know what it is. You just put the box out there, and this Joker's just sitting on the board, and you wonder, well, what's in box C, I wonder, right? Then you open it up and you see this monstrous creation in there, and it's so good. And then you think, well, that's cool to have that option to fight against that thing, which my one complaint is we hosed it in one turn. It didn't even get a chance to move or fight. But that's a pretty cool deal, right? You get this giant monster on the board, and then you open up Rasputin's faction, and holy cow, all of his mechs are like that. And he plays a very different way with the leaping and all that sort of stuff. It reminded me of Metal Gear Ray. Those suckers just jumping all over the place, right? How about oh man, Vesna? She was amazing. Her faction is great. All the variability in play, I love the way she plays. The different mech upgrades, the different factory cards that you get to use. I love the idea of having those 3 factory cards from the beginning. She's really, really good. Now, I'm not very good at Scythe is the problem. I lose typically because I'm too enamored with all the options, right? She's very good. That might be my favorite part of the 2 new factions, except for those mech upgrades and infrastructure upgrades. And in fact, let's look just real quick now that we're in the spoiler part. I wanted to read through these and just kind of give my thoughts on all the different modules here that come in the game. So let's just go top to bottom. What we think. Now, I'm just full disclosure, we have not done this yet, the fully cooperative mode, but oh my gosh, I cannot wait to try the fully cooperative mode of Scythe because we love Scythe that much. And Carl and I, when we play 2 players anyway, we don't fight because we're married and we want a happy marriage. But so here's the different names of the things, and it gives you recommendations on when to use them, when not to use them, and I really like that. And it also tells you the different things in the middle here of what you need to play them. Full automa rules for everything, just so you know. Mech Mods. Mech Mods are great. Having the ability to tweak your own personal mechs is fantastic, so definitely play with that. I will play that every time. Infrastructure mods. This is cool. I love the idea of having, well, let me tell you, by the end of it, we had, each of us, I'm pretty sure, had those 4 mods that give you the free bottom action. I mean, you use it once, yeah, but still, having the ability to get an upgrade and a deploy and an enlist and a build for free is pretty great, having that. So the infrastructure mods are great. The War Triumph track, we didn't play this till the end of the game, and it was when we had pared down to 2 players, so it was a little bit underwhelming for that part, but it does sound cool in a full game, having those rivals out there in which you try to encourage combat between players. Then there's the rivals, obviously what we just talked about. So that's 2 different things. You don't have to play with the rivals to play with the War Triumph track. The War Triumph track is just that different track up at the top. There's the Peace Triumph track, and I'm going to be showing clips of these too. There's the Peace Triumph track. This was great. We had this in round 2. We really liked this because it was a more peaceful game. I just love the idea of different options at the end of the game to put goals on, right? So War Triumph and Peace Triumph are pre-made. I'm going to skip down to the bottom down here to the Triumph Tiles for a second. The Triumph Tiles, though, if you don't want to do pre-made and you don't want to do the original, you just shuffle 10 of the Triumph Tiles and your game is different every single time you play, or you can pick 10 if you want to. But the idea is it's totally random what could be your star goals at the end of the game. So really, really fantastic. Tesla, that's cool. just getting that piece on the board, it's amazing. I can't wait to play with him more. Also going to try the Mad Tesla mod where you fight against him as an NPC. So it's not cooperative, it's still competitive, and he's just roaming around the board. So you get the little cards and dice that tell what they do. Desolation, that's that fully cooperative mode we haven't tried yet. The other one would be the Fenris faction, the Vesna faction, and alliances. I love alliances. Now let me tell you what happened there. We were playing the Peace Alliance mission, right? The one with peace track, and alliances. Here's the problem. When doing that, the person who gets left to have to ally with the black faction is wrecked. The only benefit is you get to do both of your cards because you can't fight, or you can fight, but you don't get stars for fighting in the peace triumph track. So having an ally as the black faction who gives you the ability to get multiple stars for fights, unless there's an FAQ somewhere that says you can still somehow get stars for that, which I don't think there is, it's useless to be allied with black in that. So what happened was everybody else had allied, and I came around to my turn and I was stuck with black. Now she got a great ability. She could swim across the water because I was playing as blue, but not so great for me. But I love the idea of allies using each other's powers, and we'll probably always play with that too, the ally track. So you can't go wrong with that, and that's all the different factions, or all the different modules there. It's just so good, but the story is good, man. The written story, the narrative text, everything is really, really cool. When that Annihilator pops up, or when Tesla pops up, it's really, really good stuff. So we enjoyed so much Scythe: Rise of Fenris, and that's, those of you who know, I like to paint miniatures. I just wanted to show these off because I don't think I ever have. All the different factions, they paint up really well. The only ones I don't have painted are green. I don't have green. I don't have the new factions painted as well, but they do a really nice job painting. It does show you though, because you don't notice these things when you're not thinking about it, when you're not looking at it so much and they're not painted, the difference between the sculpts and the pictures that you get on your board. So it's clearly different model art for the different things, but really good looking pictures. I just wanted to show off these real quick because I like it. I like the way they turn out, but it shows off cool differences in the mechs, like all the art and time that went into making these mechs what they are. Obviously, you know, the Viking ship with the legs is probably my favorite. I do like this guy a whole lot. Gunta Noctmitog, I think that's his name, but really good stuff. You know, they're really, really great little plastic pieces. And the reason I'm showing this is I want you to see the difference in comparison in what's in here, and I'm going to open up and show you what comes in the new set right now. So let's take a look at what comes inside Rise of Fenris first. Now I am a little bummed that I don't have these painted yet, but Rasputin's got an owl because, yeah, that's awesome. And that giant hammer looking thing, really, really cool looking sculpt. I feel like the quality of the sculpt is really, really high. We'll come back to that in just a minute. Here's Tesla. You've seen this factory card, and they did an updated version in the rule set, so you can actually get the colors perfect. A lot of this neon blue look to it. It's really, really cool. But this is Nikola Tesla on his crazy looking power wheel, and he's just awesome looking there. Here's his daughter with the robotic dog. Secret of Evermore fans, right? Yeah. Man, this is good stuff here. Just really, really good looking dog, and she's cool looking as well. And then somebody's got to give me a hint. What is this based on? Like all the other ones seem to have a base in reality somewhere, but I'm not sure what this one is based on with her. So really, really cool looking sculpts. And then there's the Annihilators. These things are gigantic. So having them as fighting them is a really cool idea, but they're monstrously huge, right? This is like Metal Gear size, and they jump, they leap, and so they're really, really cool pieces that came in the set. Spare no expense on the plastic, because goodness gracious, these are awesome. Can't wait to paint these up, especially Tesla. I'm really looking forward to getting him painted. Let's take a look at what else comes in the set. Obviously, you get wood pieces for these characters as well. With the Rasputin ones come with guns, which is pretty cool. So getting the two new factions alone is a pretty good incentive, but let's talk a couple other things real quick. Let's talk about quality of the components themselves. These are the tuck boxes. Now they all give clues, which is neat because you don't actually know that. So when you set Tesla on the board, it's him looking at his robotic little wonder wheel thing, and then you set it on the board and when you find him, right? There's this one that shows an Annihilator in the background. You wouldn't know that. You're just guessing based on the art that it's just more pretty art. Set that on the board, but the tuck boxes are really nice. This one shows the servants of Fenris, and they have their weapons with them, so really cool looking dudes there. And then the tuck boxes with the symbols, and you kind of get an idea that these are going to be factions just purely based on the fact that they have a symbol on the top, but you don't know what they are, you don't know who they are or anything like that when you open the box, but you can't avoid seeing that when you open the box. So that is everything that comes new content wise in the game. I wanted to show you the Triumph tracks if you hadn't seen them yet. So you got the War Triumph track, which now has you can either or this. can do those. 4 fights. Power is only 16, and then own 8 yellow cards. Now, this one's my favorite one, and I really like the way this plays. So the peace track is, you know, you can upgrade, build either mechs or enlist, get your workers out there, do 2 mission cards, 13 on the health, collect 3 item tokens. I love that. And then get a factory card. And then obviously this one here is own 16 different types of resources. So I really like that track. However, it's hard to decide if we want to use the track or if you just want to use this Triumph tiles, which is just a bag full of different tiles of those same things we basically just saw out there. This would be, I don't even know what that one is. Actually, I haven't even noticed that before. I think it's either have all your buildings out or have 9 coins, maybe. I don't know. Either way, this is 20 coins there. Oh, this is Desolation. I'm sorry. This is for the Desolation one. You use these in conjunction with that Desolation mission, but there are others in here that aren't. And I think there's only 4 that are just Desolation, but, you know, put your stars out there for different things. And I love the idea of setting that up differently each time. Here are those tokens that are for the ally tokens. Everybody gets one, including Rasputin and Fenris. So there are things like Dominate. There's no limit to the number of stars you can place for combat and objectives. So basically you would give this to whoever you want to ally with, and they can use your player board power, which is really sweet. Which influence is cool with Rasputin. She gets her own set of Mech Tiles. These are great. So when you're playing non-campaign, you just draw some random ones out there and put them on your board. Otherwise, everybody gets these. And if you're playing campaign mode, you just reach in, grab a couple, and decide how many you're going to buy, if you want to buy them. Otherwise, you have your infrastructure upgrades here, which are things like assembly line. Reduce the cost of 1 deploy action to 0 metal. So you would flip it over when you've used it, and you basically get to use a free metal, a free deploy action. So the other thing, one last thing to mention are these Tesla tiles. These are kind of how you use the automatic fights when you're playing Desolation or you're playing against Mad Tesla. So just know that these are the ways that this works. It's not purely automa, and it comes with these really nifty looking dice. If I have misplaced them, there, these really nice looking dice right here that are really pretty. So they determine how much they fight, how well they fight, where they move, how much they move, all sort of things as that. So Mad Tesla and Desolation. This is fully cooperative, and I cannot wait to try that out because, again, Carl and I love Scythe so much, and working together is way better for us. So that is everything that comes in the box. That's the spoiler, non-spoiler review. You have to go get this. I know I said that in the non-spoiler part, and I assume if you're still watching this, you watched that too. But it is amazing. You cannot go wrong with the Rise of Fenris. So I'm Brian Drake here on The Latest Retro. Remember, answer that question of the day. Which method do you prefer for expansions? What games have the best expansions? And what would you like to see from expansions in the future in other types of games with this model or the Walking Dead model? Until next time, I'm Brian Drake. We'll see you.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.